Welcome to another episode of our video series of the mechanics of human cognition. You know, it's pretty wild how quickly this topic, artificial intelligence, has leapt from the world of tech and engineering straight into the heart of cognitive science. It really seems to have struck a deep, very human nerve. I mean, if you've ever felt that little jolt of anxiety watching an AI compose music or write an article in just a few seconds, you are definitely not alone. It brings up a huge question, one that's both incredibly personal and profoundly philosophical. In a world where machines can do our jobs better than we can, what are we for? That's the question we're going to tackle today.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by looking at that very real fear of becoming obsolete. Then, we'll get into where our true, irreplaceable value really lies, something that goes way beyond just our professional skills. After that, we'll peel back the curtain on the hidden environmental costs of all this. Then we'll confront a pretty powerful metaphor for where we are right now as a species. And finally, we'll sketch out what a new human curriculum might look like for this new age.
All right, section 1, the obsolescence anxiety. Let's start right there with that raw feeling. The quote you see here, this is from a real person, someone who built their entire life and career on a set of skills, language, translation, writing, that an AI can now replicate almost instantly. Think about that. His company, gone. His craft, automated. For so many people, this isn't some far-off sci-fi scenario, it's happening right now, and it's deeply personal.
Which, of course, leads to the big question that's probably on your mind too. Is any job truly safe? I mean, if a job is about processing information, spotting patterns, and making logical decisions, well, that's exactly what AI is built for. The ground is shifting under our feet, and it's happening faster than anyone expected. So, what's left for us?
And you know, this whole thing pulls back the curtain on a much deeper issue. This isn't just an economic crisis, it's an identity crisis. For generations, we've built our society and our own sense of self-worth on being useful, on our jobs, our output, our productivity. So when a machine comes along that is objectively more useful, it doesn't just threaten our livelihood, it threatens our very sense of who we are. But maybe, just maybe, utility was the wrong thing to measure ourselves against all along.
So if being useful isn't the answer, what is? Well, that brings us right to our second section, the story behind the art. We have to shift from thinking about the problem to thinking about the solution. And that solution lies in something AI can imitate, sure, but it can never ever truly possess. Our own unique, messy human experience.
Just take a look at this comparison. On one side, you have an AI's creation. It's technically perfect, right? It's instantaneous. It's a flawless remix of all the data it's ever been trained on. But then look at the other side, a human creation. It might be imperfect, it might be flawed, but it's soaked in something else entirely. It has a story. It has struggle, intention, a point of view that was born from a life actually lived. Think about this for a second. Why is a painting by Van Gogh priceless? Is it just because of the brushstrokes? Of course not. We're not just buying paint on a canvas. We're buying the story of his tortured genius, his passion, his pain, his unique way of seeing the world. An AI can generate a beautiful picture, no doubt, but it can't generate the meaning behind it. And as human beings, meaning is what we crave. It's what we truly value.
And that's because we've got to be clear about what we're comparing. What we call artificial intelligence is really just simulating one tiny logical slice of what human intelligence actually is. We are not just logic bots. Our intelligence is this rich, complex system. It's emotional, it's social, it's our sense of time, our connection to the world around us. AI is an incredibly powerful tool, for sure, but it's not even playing the same game we are. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. We've been in the philosophical realm, but now we need to talk about something very physical, very real. Beyond the threat to our jobs or our identity, there's a massive, planetary cost to this technology that almost nobody is talking about. This is the unseen price tag. I want you to think about this. When you type a few words into an AI image generator, and this incredible picture just appears, it feels like magic. It feels like it was created from nothing. But it's not nothing. It comes from somewhere, and it has a very real cost in the physical world. Any idea what that cost might be? Well, the answer is pretty shocking. Generating just one of those AI images takes enough electricity to fully charge your smartphone, from 0 to 100%. Now stop and multiply that by the millions and millions of images being generated every hour of every day all over the world. And that single phone charge, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
This scales up to these enormous, power-hungry server farms that are pumping out staggering amounts of carbon dioxide. And some of the proposed solutions you hear about, like sinking servers into the ocean to keep them cool, come on, that's not solving the problem, it's just swapping one environmental disaster for another. The path we're on right now is completely unsustainable.
All of this, the identity crisis, the environmental cost, it leads us to what might be the most important metaphor in this whole discussion. It's a jarring image, but it's a fitting one. Right now, humanity is like a 3-year-old child that's found a straight razor.
The meaning here is pretty clear, right? We have created these tools of incredible, world-changing power, but we simply do not have the collective wisdom, the maturity, to handle them responsibly. There is a terrifyingly wide gap between what we can do and what we should do. And we have to remember this crucial point. AI is not some alien invader. It is a mirror. It learns from us, from the trillions of data points we've created. It reflects our creativity and our compassion, but it also reflects our biases, our anger, our foolishness. If we don't start to grow up as a species, that mirror is going to show us a version of ourselves that is truly, deeply frightening. Our own personal growth has suddenly become a technological imperative.
This reckless rush forward is pushing us towards a concept called the singularity. The best way to think of it is like the event horizon of a black hole. It's a point of no return. It's the moment when technological growth becomes so rapid and uncontrollable that the fundamental rules of our civilization, economic, social, maybe even biological, they just break. And we have absolutely no idea what's on the other side. Yet we are running towards it, full tilt.
So this all sounds pretty grim. Where do we go from here? Well, this last section isn't about giving up or trying to stop technology. It's about a necessary upgrade for ourselves. We need a new curriculum for what it means to be human.
Think about it. For the past 100 years, our entire society has valued the skills on the left. Memorizing facts, performing calculations, following instructions. Well, I've got news for you. That's all now officially obsolete. A machine can do it better, faster, and cheaper. The skills that are now essential, the ones that are uniquely human, are on the right. They're internal: self-knowledge, emotional intelligence, mindfulness, and most importantly, the ability to ask the right question.
I really love this simple breakdown of the path forward. It's all about cultivating relentless curiosity. Ask why once, and you're a scientist. You're trying to figure out how something works. Ask why a second time, and now you're a philosopher. You're searching for meaning. But if you can keep asking why with the endless wonder of a child, that's where you find real wisdom.
And this really is the new bottom line. We now live in a world of information abundance. Answers are cheap. You can get an answer to almost anything in a split second. So having the answer isn't the skill anymore. The only true advantage, the only real value, is having the wisdom, the creativity, and the insight to ask a better question in the first place. You know, this all reminds me of the old story about the genie in the bottle, and it's never been more relevant. We have summoned an incredibly powerful genie with AI. It's here, and it can grant almost any wish we can imagine. The problem is, we might be the fool in the story. Do we actually possess the wisdom and the self-knowledge to know what we should wish for? Do we know what is truly for our own good?
So that's the thought I want to leave you with. The power is here. It's not going away. In fact, it's growing exponentially. The most important question is no longer, what can the technology do? The question is, what will we choose to do with it? The genie is out of the bottle, and it's waiting for our command. So what will you wish for?